Hello everybody and welcome back to the Eternal Sonata playthrough. It is time to continue on with our journey through Fort Fermata. We're still here.
I'm not gonna lose this battle.
Yeah, you got a glimpse of my dislike for this area last part. It's only going to continue because we're just going to be here for a very, very, very long time. Like, the majority of this part is us continuing through Fort Fermata. It's... yeah. It's just too long, in my opinion. Like, most of the other dungeons in the game are perhaps going to end up being around 30 minutes once you've clocked out most of the extraneous battles. But this one, yeah, this one ends up being like near 50 minutes, which is ridiculous. I mean, I say in most of the dungeons I have ended up spending about an hour in total, in pretty much all of them, although I feel that Fort Fermata was about an hour and a half. Because it has to be difficult. I suppose it decided that because everyone disliked it so much, it just wanted to give me a hard time and just be generally a dick about it.
Let's fight.
I mean, to be fair, I could have probably made this slightly less painful on myself had I not been so adamant in my desire to get every single character up to the recommended level. And I suppose that's on me for making this last longer than it needed to. But the thing with that is that there are a couple of points in the game where you don't have quite so much say over the characters you get to play as. Obviously, right now we've got 5 party members, and so we can swap in and out and figure out who we prefer the most. For me, it's definitely Viola, Allegretto, and Frederick. And to be fair, as a team, Viola, Allegretto, and Frederick will serve you pretty well throughout pretty much the entire game. However, there is a moment coming up in a couple of parts' time where if you've been ignoring Beat, you're pretty much buggered, because Beat will take part in a fight against a boss, and if he is not leveled up enough, he's going to be in trouble, and then you're going to have to play catch up trying to heal up and revive Beat to be able to then, you know, continue your fighting. And then there are other moments in the game where your parties split up. So, for example, on one team you may have Viola and Allegretto, on the other you may have Polka and Beat. And if you've been ignoring Polka and Beat, then those moments are going to get incredibly difficult. I will point out that everyone in your party does get experience points from battle, but I think there's some sort of factor in it, like some sort of maths, where they end up getting a lesser amount of experience. So it really, really does pay you to alternate as you go. Or at least keep switching it up so that everyone gets leveled evenly. Because when you do that, one, you counteract the issue of running into a battle and going, oh my god, my characters are underleveled, what the hell am I going to do? I'm stuck. I'm going to have to grind for frickin' ever. But also, it gets you used to all the different quirks of each character, so that when those situations do occur, where your party split up and you're forced to use certain characters, you know how they work. And so, you are going to be much more effective in combat with them. So, it's definitely something to pay attention to. Definitely. Yay! We moved the room! Thankfully there's a save point here. Always appreciative of a save point, am I? Because
Alright, let's go.
they are obviously an indicator of your progress through the dungeon, but also it means it can just go, okay, I've gotten this far, let's have a pause and a think of where I need to go with things. For most of the dungeons, it's not a problem, but for this one in particular, if you aren't using the guide, I would totally recommend you use a guide for this because this is ridiculous. But if you're not, each one points out that you're moving forward, but also, yeah, it just helps you think about your next few moves. Moves. And we've got Health Arrow, Sod Off Sacred Strike. We're going for the Heal Arrow because it's beautiful. And particularly at this point in the game, it's an absolute godsend. And I would still say that it's it's an amazing, even late game, because it does heal everyone. Because what you can do is you can, as long as there's light in the arena, you can plonk Viola in the light in the far end of the arena, and when you need to heal your fellow party members, you can do so. But if you don't need to, you can fire at your enemies from a distance, and as long as you're hitting them, you're going to be causing pretty decent damage altogether. So it is so worthwhile. I mean, you can only get about 2 heal arrows in a turn. Particularly right now, I think it gets less, so you may only be able to fit in 1 later on. Because our amount of action time is going to go down to about 4 seconds, I think. So you do have to be quite careful with how long moves take to perform. But the fact that it hits everyone, no matter how far away they are, it is just an absolute godsend. And it's why I do prefer it so much to Polka's Healing Arts and Frederick's, because Frederick's Sacred Signature is just alright. It's nothing hugely special. Frederick's more of a damage dealer than anything else. So, having that heal arrow, just absolute godsend. But it just goes further as to why you do need to keep on top of knowing how to use Polka. Because there will come a time when your 2 primary healer characters will be separated. So just be aware that that's going to occur. And don't ignore Polka.
Don't be such a crybaby.
I can't believe that we're only about 10 minutes into the second half of the dungeon and there's still another 20 minutes to go.
them.
Just...
Who does not? Forget
like it, I do not. As I said, it is just that bit too long a dungeon. Like, I'm fine with slightly lengthy dungeons, but for the most part I prefer these to occur much later on in the game. Like, let me get to the second half of the game before you start throwing ultra long and complicated dungeon setups at me. Because at that point it makes sense, because it's an endurance run of sorts. Whereas right now there's no real need for an endurance run, they're just sort of throwing it at you out of nowhere. And it really does break up the pace of the game, because I mean, it is at times already quite a slow-paced game, and that is no bad thing in the grand scheme of things. Like, I have often defended games that just go at that more relaxed pace, like Kirby's Epic Yarn and Prince of Persia 2008 and so on and so forth. But there is a limit to how slow a game can go, and while for the most part I would say that this game does a pretty decent job of keeping itself plugging along, like pretty much all of the other dungeons and all of the other gameplay bits that I've done so far in terms of my recording, the pace has been kept going, and like none of the other parts feel especially sluggish. Obviously there are cutscenes which are sometimes interminably long, and while I'm totally appreciative of the chance to not do a bit of talking for like 10 minutes, 10-minute cutscenes are a challenge. Makes sense for the game and the story it's trying to tell, and I do really love it. But there are certain cutscenes which do majorly outstay their welcome. Some laughably so, despite what they contain. Something which anybody who has experienced Eternal Sonata before knows exactly what I'm talking about. For everyone else who has never actually seen Eternal Sonata before, I hope nobody else spoils it for you, because it's going to be quite an experience when we get there. Because, oh boy, that is a corker of a lengthy cutscene. But it is one of the issues that I do have with Eternal Sonata. As much as I love it, I really do. The length of Fort Fermata and the length of some of its cutscenes, they do sometimes just pass the point of... well, yeah, they outstay their welcome, ultimately.
You're really gonna get it.
Because everyone has their limits, so sometimes you just reach a point where you just go, okay, can you just wrap this up, please? I either want to get back to the game, or I just want to come back and progress the story a bit. Why are you making me wait? And that's just always a pain. That said, I do really like the progression you feel as you level up in a dungeon, because what often happens is that you start a dungeon and it's really difficult to kill enemies in a single turn because you're just not powerful enough yet. But as you get closer to the end of the dungeon, as long as you've been fighting every enemy as you go to make sure that you are adequately levelled for what you face ahead, you get to the point where you can defeat them in one turn. And that's just quite an awesome feeling, to be fair. Yes, I believe we are now entering the twilight hours of Fort Sonata. Still got a ludicrous number of battles to go. Ludicrous number of battles to go. But it is finally reaching its twilight moments. Because I believe that we just have a few more items to pick up, a few more levels to gain, and then we can go and take on the boss of the area, which is quite awesome, I do have to say. Now, since we're here, and I am very quickly running out of things to talk about for this lovely dungeon that, as you can tell, is driving me slightly potty, I might as well actually bring up a bit more about Revolution, or Etude OP 10, number 12 in C minor, which is also known as the Revolutionary Etude, or the Etude on the Bombardment of Warsaw, which is the Revolution which we just heard.
You don't look so good.
And basically the bit that I want to talk about here is the stuff to do with popular culture. Like places where you might have heard that song before, because that means that a nice chunk of time which is just gonna cover stuff. So the piece can be heard in the Tom and Jerry episode Snowbody Loves Me, as well as in the King of Fighters 2003 when players face Adelaide Bernstein. It can be heard in the Abbott and Costello short The Music Lovers, where Lou takes playing the piano while Bud hides behind the piano with a phonograph. It can be heard in Scooby-Doo TV movie Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers, when the character Shriko plays a piano with a broken key. It can also be heard in Power Rangers Zeo, in an episode where a character named Skull plays it in a contest. There's a cover version of the piece used as the opening sequence for the UK game show Interceptor, which I've never heard of. It can be heard in Deadly Premonition, only by driving the car of Diane Amos, which can be purchased alongside the cars of several other characters. It also plays in in Catherine, in the final battle of the game. Don't really want to spoil that if that is indeed the final boss, but it's in the final battle against a certain character. It's in Looney Tunes Duck Amuck. Daffy Duck plays the exploding piano, which is that song. And in the Amanda Show, the Mad Teacher plays a piano to hear that. Obviously, you can hear it in Turn Sonata during the interlude at the start of this chapter. You can actually also hear an arrangement of it much later on, but I'll bring that up then. The opening of the song can be heard in Same Time Next Year, 1978 film, I think, when in the scene when George is ready for romance, Doris enters in the final stage of her pregnancy. George sits down at the piano and plays it to try to dissipate his excess energy. You can hear it in Kamen Rider Kuga. It can be heard several times during episodes 27 and 28, during which a villain bases her murders around a portion of the song's notes. The Dance Dance Revolution song Kakumei is based on this etude, the song Sonido Bestial from the album El Bestial Sonido de Ricardo Ray y Bobby Cruz by Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz, released in 1971, incorporates a rendition of this etude. It also features in the manga Your Lie in April, with one of the main characters performing it, and it has been remixed by the artist She, named Revolutionist, which was also featured as a piece of purchasable content in the iOS standard game Citus.
It's a friend of mine.
And as an intro, the etude can also be heard in parts being played by John Toot, or Two, of the English band Renaissance on the title of their third album, Prologue. So, it has been used a lot. I mean, to be fair, a lot of Chopin's songs have been used a lot throughout history since they were written, because he's just such a great musician. And since we're still here, let's go into a bit about the technique of Revolution. Now, I'm going to be saying some words which I don't fully remember or know the meanings of, verbatim from Wikipedia, of course, but it will hopefully pad out that last little bit of time before we get to the boss, and I've actually got something new to talk about. So, in the case of this particular etude, the technique required in the opening bars is playing long, loud, descending runs extremely fast, in mainly the left hand, which forms a dominant 7th chord introductory build-up to the main theme. The length and the repetition of these rapid passages distinguishes Revolutionary etude from the others. Although the greatest challenge lies with the relentless left-hand semiquavers, the right hand is also challenged by the cross rhythms, which are used with increasing sophistication to handle the same theme in various successive parallel passages. And cross rhythms basically is the simultaneous use of two or more conflicting rhythms, which for a cross rhythm is the basis for an entire piece of music, which is what happens in Revolution. The left-hand technique in this piece involves evenly played semiquavers throughout. The structure is of the strophic form, which is, I think, something coda, not sure. And the opening broken chords, which is diminished chord with an added passing note, and downward passages transition into the main appassionato melody. The octaves, melodies, dotted rhythms and the continuous accompaniment give an impression of tension. The piece ends by recording the opening in a final descending sweep with both hands descending to a C major chord, although within a context that draws its expected function as a resolution into question. So yes, that's the whole deal with the technique of playing the Revolutionary etude. And yeah, I got some of those words. I mean, so strophic form is also called verse repeating or chorus form, which is applied to songs in which all verses or stanzas of the text are sung to the same music. So it's where you end up with alternations or things being repeated based on the Greek word strophe, or strophe, which means to turn, which is always a good one. So you could have A, B, A dash, A dash, etc. That's what you're dealing with strophic form. And then appassionato is, as soon as I have located it in this glossary of musical terminology, which I will most likely be making strong use of. I'm actually going to favourite that because that's actually incredibly useful to me right now. So appassionato just means played passionately, which you could probably guess by the fact that it has passionato, and it literally has passion in it. But I think, fingers crossed, we have collected everything. Everything that awaits us in Fort Fermata, and we are also fully leveled up for what lies ahead. So let's rush on forward to the exit, because I can't be doing with this place any longer. It's been driving me balmy. And there we go. Our boss of the dungeon awaits. It's definitely a good idea us healing up and levelling up, because otherwise this can be a challenging fight. Because as with most of the boss fights in the game, they can hit very, very hard. And so if you don't have someone like Viola in place to heal you, it can end very badly for you. Very, very badly indeed. But either way, let's head forward and take this thing on.
You foolish creatures.
And lovely, we've got some absolutely joyous maledictors on the side as well. Never have liked the fights where you've got, well, the boss fights, where you've got mooks on the side,
Did I make your eyes spin?
because they just end up being a pain.
Coup de grace.
But yes, this is the Killer Knight, and he's sort of a weird cross between like a Minotaur and some sort of strange scorpion with meat cleavers or axes. I mean, to be fair,
So good.
he is a really cool design, and it is a fun fight.
Shadow assault. Did I make your eyes spin?
It's just that it comes at the end of such a ridiculously long dungeon. And yeah, I think as soon as we get the full echoes out, he's really not going to stand much of a chance.
Fall into the never-ending depths of night. Shadow assault.
I mean, yeah, like, oh boy, he really did struggle against that one. And now the question is Viola gonna get a Bone Crumble max off? Yes, come on! You know, I would be annoyed that he blocks part of my Bone Crumble, because I like my Bone Crumble. But it's fine, because hopefully... Oh, damn you! You died before I got to use a bloomin' full echo gauge on you.
That's better.
You can sod off, mate. I was all willing to defend you, Killer Knight, and you've just disappointed me. But yes, we've gone up a party level! Brilliant! Basically now, our tactical time is limited, and our action gauge has gone down to 4 seconds, but what we've also gained is the ability to have 4 special attacks stocked on a character. Which basically means that if you press the button you can get 1 special attack, if you hold it you can get another, which gives you a lot more flexibility in combat.
Nope, they're more worried about an invasion from Baroque these days. they've probably pulled out almost all the troops from here.
No matter how much time passes, war remains.
Yeah, that's true. I've even heard rumors that Baroque has been supporting Andantino. For Baroque, it's an easy way to shake up things in Forte without getting their hands too dirty.
Andantino?
They're an underground group that's been trying to start a revolution in Forte territory. Basically, they're a bunch of rebels.
Wouldn't a revolution be destructive?
But isn't a revolution better than nothing? It may improve people's lives a little. And that's a good thing, right?
It's not that simple, Beat. Think about everyone involved. Andantino, Baroque, Forte. Which one should win? We ordinary people don't have any way of knowing which of them is right.
I would imagine they have their own agendas.
But one of them has to be the good guy, right?
Who knows? They might all be evil in their own way. Then again, they might all be right. It's hard to be sure.
Then, how are we supposed to figure out whose justice really is true justice?
Understand?
Can you explain it again, Jazz?
Claves, why do you always need things repeated?
I'm sorry, but this is an important mission, so I want to make sure I get it right.
Yes. This mission is vital to our cause. I'll explain it once more. Is that all right, Falsetto?
Fine.
The objective of this mission is to rescue the guardian of Agogo Forest, who is being held in the dungeon beneath Forte Castle. We'll infiltrate the castle tomorrow at dawn.
But the castle gates are heavily guarded. What will we do about that?
We'll use the underground passage between Hanan Hills and the prison. This information is solid. Our members spent a full year investigating it.
Falsetto's right. It won't be that difficult a mission. We just have to bring the Guardian back.
Why are we rescuing her anyway? I mean, how will rescuing her benefit Andantino?
Apparently, Waltz is searching for glowing Agogos. One of our members spotted his man Fugue in the Agogo Forest. So, it makes sense that they would want to detain the Guardian and make her tell them about the glowing Agogos.
The glowing Agogos? But what on earth does Waltz want those for?
Well, they do taste good in soup.
Falsetto, if you don't take this seriously, we'll end up making a mess of even the easiest missions.
Fine.
Apparently, Agogos double the effectiveness of ordinary mineral powder, and glowing Agogos will probably increase it even further. If Waltz gets his hands on those, he'll have an unlimited supply of mindless soldiers.
I guess from Waltz's point of view, by multiplying the effect of the mineral powder with the glowing Agogos, he'll be multiplying the number of troops he has at his disposal.
I get it now. And then he'll use those troops to fight against Andantino.
I don't know about that. I seriously doubt he'll be attacking Andantino anytime soon. He probably considers Baroque more of a threat.
All right, you two. Come on. I think it's about time we cut the chatter and got to work.